I'm Pastor Brandon Burks with Christ Reformed Church in Northern Kentucky. And one question that we get sometimes is, what is it like being in a church plant? A church plant is different. We are a startup. We're not a big box evangelical church. We're not an established church. We're not a historical church. We haven't been rooted in an area for hundreds of years like other churches have. A church plant is something that is planted by another church or by another organization. And so we are planted by the United Reformed Churches of North America, the URC, and we are overseen by Ascension Reformed Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. But what is it like being part of a church plant? Well, again, it is different from going into an established church that has all the programs, that has all the resources, all the manpower, all the funding, all of it, to be able to provide for this program and this age group and that age group. In a church plant, we often see people who are starters. People who are saying, hey, I want to help build. I want to be a builder. I want to come in and help. I want to put my hand to the plow and get to work. And they're not consumers, people who just want to go to a place. And there's, again, nothing wrong with going to an established church that has all these great programs and these great things for families. That's awesome. But in a church plant, we have people who are not merely consumers wanting that, but they're people who are builders and said, hey, that's not happening yet. I'll help you start it. In the church planting world, people are often saying, looking around and saying, hey, what are some holes here? Does the church need more organization? Do we need greeters on Sunday morning? Or even basic things like, should we encourage each other more? Should there be more time for prayer? What should the culture be in this church? And the people that join a church plant are often saying, I want to help start that culture. I want to help build that culture. I'm going to embody that for myself and spread that around. That love, that encouragement, that prayerful spirit, whatever it is. And if there's a need, and in a church plant, there's always needs. Those who join a church plant often say, here I am. I'm ready to help. I'll help you set up. I'll help you tear down. I'll help with this ministry. I'll help man that ministry. And so it is a little different in joining a church plant because you're part of that foundation laying, especially early on. Like we are only at Christ Reformed a year and a half into our church planting journey. And by God's grace, we have been so blessed to be given a building in Bellevue, Kentucky. By God's grace, having more and more people join us. By God's grace, starting to now develop roots in Northern Kentucky, specifically in Bellevue, Kentucky. And we're so thankful for all the things that God has done in and through His kindness and mercy and generosity. And joining us is, it's interesting that we are a church plant and yet we have our own building. That's a little bit unique, especially as early as we are, a year and a half in, church plant with a building. So that is a little bit unique. But yet we're a church plant. And we're still building and we're still growing. And yes, we have things like catechism classes for different age groups of children. Yes, we have 2 services on the Lord's Day. We have fellowship groups that are meeting. We do meet for prayer midweek. We are gathering together to evangelize the neighborhood. We have outreach events planned. Like, we do have a lot of things going on. But there's so much that can be done. Small things that have to deal with administration, things that have to deal with behind the scenes, like legal things. I mean, all of it kind of comes and falls onto the church plant. And we're so thankful that we belong to the URCNA. We're so thankful for our overseeing church, Ascension, because without them, we would not have the resources or the help that we do because of that. But joining a church plant is also it is a rewarding thing because you're seeing something grow. You're not looking at a 100-year-old oak tree that's been there forever, and those are magnificent to see as well for different reasons. But in a church plant, you're looking at a seed that was planted and starting to now bud and grow, and you're excited about it. And in a church plant, we're excited to see God's growth, but we also feel things more. In the same way, for example, that 100-year oak tree, you could probably kick it and punch it and maybe even take an axe to one side of it, and it's probably going to be okay and heal and so forth. You try doing that with a church plant, a young plant that just budded. It's going to destroy the plant. And so in a church plant, as one of my pastor friends always says, the highs are high and the lows are lower. You feel things more. You lose a family because they move away or something. You feel it. You gain a family that just moved back to the area. You feel that joy as well. And so there's so many emotions happening in a church plant, from, oh no, are we going to survive, to look what God is doing. I chat with other church planters, and it's just amazing to see how God provides for his church plants. I had church planters say, we started with 2 families, and they would hold like Bible studies, and sometimes nobody would show up, or one person would come. And here they are now, 100 people later, grown because of God, as God has given the growth. And so a church planter and those who join a church plant do not despise humble beginnings. Oftentimes we do. Our hearts, we love the big stuff. We love to go in, a lot of energy, big people, a lot of stuff happening, a lot of movement, a lot of energy. That gets us excited. But those in a church plant do not despise humble beginnings, realizing that, hey, back when we started, it was only a handful of families, and now look what God has done. And as church planting people, we have to endure storms. We have to endure hardships. We have to endure various trials that come our way. Not to pack up and leave and say, well, this church doesn't have this, or this church is lacking this. Well, church plants are lacking a lot. But here you are, and God has given you a mission in your local church plant, if you're part of one, to go forth, to help out, to put your hand to the plow, to grow and become maybe officers of the church, deacons, elders, teachers, nursery workers, or even those who help set up before the service, who help get the coffee ready, who help organize the potlucks or whatever it is. And so a church plant is an exciting place. It's an exciting thing to be part of, to see God give the growth. But it's also a place where we have to be ready to serve, ready to help, ready to go, because in a church plant things can happen quickly, whether for good or for bad. And so we have to be able to kind of pivot a bit in a church plant. And so, it's exciting to be part of a church plant. I love it. I've been a pastor of a more historic church, a 200-year-old church, so I've been on that side of things as well. And there's exciting things there as well. There's exciting things and beautiful things that the church is doing, and by God's providence. But being on the church planting side is very exciting. And I'm excited to see what God has in store for us at Christ Reformed Church in the years to come. So if you're in the area, please join us and help us. Put your hand to the plow and let's build by God's grace. Because if God does not give the growth, we labor in vain. Amen.